Hey everybody, my name's DJ. I'm a postdoc in economics at the University of New South Wales in Sydney, and I make tools for thought as a hobby. So today I want to introduce you to version 2 of my Chrome extension, Ghostwriter for Anki. Ghostwriter for Anki allows you to quickly create flashcards from the material that you read online. It has a bunch of nice features built in by somebody who uses flashcards every single day. So let me just quickly show you how it works and then talk a little bit about what's different from V1. So let's say that you were reading the Feynman lectures on physics, which I'm sure is something that you too would do in your spare time. And you come across this paragraph that says, if in some cataclysm all of scientific knowledge were to be destroyed and only one sentence passed on to the next generations of creatures, what statement would contain the most information in the fewest words? And you think to yourself, oh man, whatever this statement is, it's something I probably want a flashcard on. So what is it? It's the atomic hypothesis. What's the atomic hypothesis? That all things are made of atoms, as good flashcards should be as well. Okay, so you go ahead and you open the extension, and I'm a little zoomed in here, but that's fine. And let's say I type what is, and then I call the Ghostwriter or the autocomplete or copilot or whatever you want to call it, and I get what is the atomic hypothesis? All things are made of atoms. Great, so I just hit tab to accept that, and then I'm going to send that to Anki. Great, it's in Anki. Let's go across to Anki and have a look. And what do I get? Okay, I've got the front and back of card. It also gives me the context so that if I'm doing the card and I forget where I read this or sort of what I was reading about when I read this card, I can click on the context and it tells me, oh, this is from the Feynman lectures. Great. And it also gives me the source, so it links the URL of the website that I was reading and the exact highlight that I'd taken. Not only that, it automatically tags it for me, and tagging is a colossal waste of time, so nobody likes to tag things, and I like that it keeps my cards organized for me, which is great. So, yeah, look, one of the things that I think is worth mentioning about the philosophy that I had from the beginning with Ghostwriter was that um, LLMs are variably good at writing cards. Sometimes they do a good job, sometimes they do a bad job. And unfortunately, most of the time they do a bad job. And if you haven't read the Memory Machines report by Ozzy Kirkby and Andy Matuszek, you should go ahead and read that. It was a fantastic report about essentially the fact that LLMs are reliably bad at writing flashcards. And so the whole point of having an autocomplete was that, Ghostwriter was that you should be able to formulate the flashcard that you want to write, and the AI is just there to help you write it faster. If the AI is doing the work for you, then you're going to end up with cards that look okay, but then in a month or two when you're reviewing them, you go, I can't even remember what the context was for this, even when you click on the context. And so that was the point of having an autocomplete. And it's subtle. Like I recorded a version of this video a couple of weeks ago and was using this card, this selection as an example. The term deep learning was introduced to the machine learning community by Rena Decter. Let me show you what happens now, but I'll tell you what happened a couple of weeks ago. Who introduced? That seems like a fine start. Who introduced? Oh, it's actually caught an error from the AI. Let me try again. What if I just give it who? There you go. I gave it too much. Who introduced the term deep learning to the machine learning community? The errors that you were seeing on screen was because it was dropping the words the term. But if you take out the term from this, you get who introduced deep learning to the machine learning community. And that has a different meaning, obviously, because it makes it sound like we're asking who introduced this concept of deep learning rather than the term deep learning. So, disambiguating cards is difficult, and I have a bunch of safeguards built in so that you don't end up with autocompletes that are trash, which is what just happened with this example, is that the AI was giving me something that was not disambiguated. So, the safeguards work. The other thing that I want to say is that there are plenty of other extensions on the Chrome store for creating flashcards from what you highlight. I've looked at a bunch of these. Some of them are quite good, but none of them do exactly what Ghostwriter does. I mean, many of them have fully AI generated cards. none that I've seen have this sort of automatic tagging and context that gets appended to cards. And for me, that's just been a huge help. So, there are other tools. You're welcome to use them. I have tried them and still prefer Ghostwriter. The options page has had a significant upgrade relative to version 1. It's much cleaner. You now get 100 free model requests so that you can use it without having to bring your own key for some time. I stripped back some of the stuff on like knowledge graphs and these other things that I think were cool, but outside of the scope of what this app was meant to be, this extension was meant to be doing. And so now it's, I think, a much more focused extension. That stuff may end up in another thing that I'm working on, but you can stay tuned for that. And many of the stuff, many of the features that that were in version 1 persist in version 2. Things like, I don't know, if I highlight this and let's say that I start typing some math, I can look at that rendered and I can, if I autocomplete a mathematical equation or something, it'll appear nicely. It'll get exported to Anki nicely. So, there are other features that have stayed that remain useful, but I think this is a much more focused, much better auto-completing extension than it was in version 1. And so I hope that you find it useful. If you have any feedback, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. And thank you for watching.